Hello guys, welcome to the IIT and GATE classes. Here we are discussing previous year GATE question paper on mechanical subjects. As of now, we are going to discuss previous year GATE question paper on basic thermodynamics solution. And we are going to start for mechanical set 1 and set 2 paper. Now, coming to the question pattern, as we can see, the total number of questions that were asked in mechanical set 1 regarding the basic thermodynamics, total number of questions were 3. 1 mark question were 2 and 2 mark question were 1. And the total weightage, we can see that 4%. Let's suppose there is a 100 marks paper. Out of the 100 marks, 4 marks were allotted to basic thermodynamics in the mechanical set 1. Now, coming to the mechanical set 2, the basic thermodynamic weightage is slightly on the higher side as compared to the mechanical set 1. Now, the total number of questions is still same, but now 2 mark question were 2 and 1 mark question were 1. And the total weightage was around 5%. Now, we are going to start discussion on question number 1 for the mechanical set 1. Let's see what they are asking. For an ideal gas, the value of Joule-Thomson coefficient they are asking. For an ideal gas, the value of Joule-Thomson coefficient. First of all, we should be knowing each and every term. What does that mean? Ideal gas. What is the difference between ideal gas and the real gas? Any gas behaves as ideal gas at low pressure and high temperature. Now it is just opposite in the real gas. Any gas will behave as real gas at high pressure and low temperature. Now, each and every formula will be different for the real gas and ideal gas. Ideal gas is basically a very simple, that's why in whole thermodynamics, basic thermodynamics, we are assuming air as an ideal gas to simplify our problems. Now, coming to the next important term, that is Joule-Thomson coefficient. Basically, this term derive, that is mu J, is derived from Joule-Thomson experiment. Joule-Thomson experiment. In this experiment, basically, Joule has done the experiment to know or to get the idea about throttling devices. Now it is very, very important. Like we have any other process, isobaric, isochoric, adiabatic, polytropic. Similarly, we have throttling process also. Similarly, we have the throttling process also. Now, what are the throttling devices we have? Let's say example A, capillary tube. The name itself suggesting throttling device means the flow is taking place through a restricted passage. The flow is not fully smooth. There is some restriction in between the flow path. Now capillary tube is one of the example of throttling device. Second example, partially opened valve. Partially opened valve. Now third example, that is flow through orifice. Flow through orifice, a very, very good example. As we already discussed in the fluid mechanics, orifice basically to measure the flow rate. Now, coming to the next part of this question, what is the Joule-Thomson experiment? What the Joule scientist has done, he has kept one porous plug in between. There is a section 1 inlet section and there is a section 2 that is outlet section. In between that, he kept one porous plug. Now the restricted flow passage is there in between 1 and 2. There is a thermometer basically to measure the temperature, and there is a pressure gauge to measure P1 and T1. Similarly, here also there is a thermometer as well as pressure gauge to measure temperature T2. Now, what you observe, whenever the ideal gas is flowing, there is no temperature change. But when the real gas is flowing, there is a slight temperature change. The temperature is increasing, decreasing. It depends upon Joule-Thomson coefficient. And he got surprised. Now, we can apply steady flow energy equation between 1 and 2. Like first law we have for the closed system. First law for the closed system, we used to write del Q equal to du plus del W. In the similar fashion, we can write down first law for open system, that is for open system. And that particular equation is called as steady flow energy equation. If you apply steady flow energy equation, H1 plus V1 square divided by 2 plus ZZ1 plus Q equal to H2 plus V2 square divided by 2 GZ2 plus work done. Now here we are not going to give any work done. There is an adiabatic system. Complete system is insulated. So there is not be any heat transfer in and out, and there is no work done to the system and out from the system. There is a no velocity change. Now you can see H1 equal to H2. Now for ideal gas, we used to write change in enthalpy as dH equal to Cp into dt. Remember, this is only valid. This dH equal to Cp into dt is only valid for ideal gas. For real gas, it is not valid. Either it is valid for ideal gas or when the process is constant pressure process. In these two conditions, this particular equation is valid. Now you may think that how the temperature will change when dH is 0. So temperature change will be 0. But I said for the real gas, the temperature will vary. For ideal gas, temperature will not be varying. In throttling process, temperature will never going to vary for ideal gas. That is the first condition. Now coming to the Joule-Thomson coefficient. Joule-Thomson coefficient we can define as mu equal to dou T by dou P constant enthalpy curve. We will going to plot T, that is temperature versus pressure curve, for isoenthalpic chart, and we are going to find the slope of the curve. That slope of the isoenthalpic curve is going to give Joule-Thomson coefficient. Now, one by one, we are going to see what is the coefficient value for ideal gas. Okay. Now, let's discuss T versus, that is temperature versus pressure curve. Now, see very carefully. We are going to draw different isoenthalpic curve where enthalpy is going to be constant. Where enthalpy is constant, H1 that is constant, that is H2 that is H3. Now the peak of this curve, if you join peak of the curve, different curve, you will get one curve, that is inversion curve. We are going to get one curve that is called as inversion curve. Now you can see this is particular chart for the real gas. Now you can see whenever the pressure will decrease, the temperature will first increase, then temperature will decrease. And our VCRS system is working in this zone. Our VCRS system is working in this particular zone where the temperature is decreasing with respect to decreasing temperature. That is, slope is positive. And here the slope is negative. Slope is negative and here slope is positive. Now you can see, I told you that the slope value of isoenthalpic curve will give mu. That is, mu is negative here, and for this curve, mu is positive. Now you can see positive and negative will be only valid for real gas. The discussion of real and no, the Joule-Thomson coefficient is positive or negative is only valid for real gas. So what is the value for ideal gas? They are asking not for the real gas, they are asking for ideal gas. So you only left with the answer called C. But let's see what is the proof of that the Joule-Thomson coefficient, that is mu, that is slope of the isothermal curve, is 0 for ideal gas. Let's see the proof with the formula. We have the formula mu j equal to dou T by dou P, where enthalpy is constant. We can write one formula that is from thermodynamic relation. In that chapter, it is given the derivation part. This is the formula. With this formula, we derive by equating dH equal to 0. By deriving dH equal to 0. And we got dH equal to 1 upon Cp T into dou V by dou T P minus V. Let's see for ideal gas. This equation is valid for ideal and real both. Now, what is a mu only for ideal gas? Let's see what is a mu only for ideal gas. 1 upon Cp T into, now dou V by dou T, PV equal to RT we can apply for ideal gas. For ideal gas we can apply PV equal to RT. Now P into dou V equal to R into dou T. Now dou V by dou T equal to R by P. So we can write down clearly at constant pressure this value will be R by P minus V. So 1 upon Cp. Now here we know that PV equal to RT. The same way we can going to write this RT value, I'm going to write as PV. The PV will cancel, the answer will be 0. And that is what the answer for Joule-Thomson coefficient for ideal gas. So that is a complete derivation for to getting the idea about Joule-Thomson coefficient and how we are getting 0 value. Now, so answer will be C. Moving on to the next question. Question number 2. Moving on to the question number 2. In this particular question, they are asking, again they mention ideal gas. I told you in the basic thermodynamics, in whole chapter, except thermodynamic relation, we never consider flow, whatever the gas as real gas for simplicity of the problem. That's why here also we are going to consider ideal gas only. Now they are asking the constant pressure line and constant volume line intersect at one point. Let me draw T versus S curve so that we'll get idea. This is the curve for volume constant and this is the curve where the pressure is constant. Now you will ask why there is a slope is higher side for the constant volume as compared to the constant pressure. You know very well TDS equation. For solving problem, we know that TDS equation du plus PdV. For constant volume, we can write 0. Now, what is the TDS? We can write mCV into dt. Let's say mass is given 1 kg. So we can write down dt by ds, that is slope of temperature versus entropy curve, and that is going to give T by Cv. That is, well, volume is constant. Similarly, we can write down dt by ds for constant pressure also. Let's see T by Cp. As you can see, Cp is greater than Cv. So dt by ds of constant volume will be more than dt by ds of constant pressure. But the question is not about the which is having higher slope. They are asking what is the value of dt by ds, that is ratio they are asking. Now it is very simple question. We have to find the ratio, that is dt by ds of constant pressure, dt by ds of constant volume. We can easily find out by 1 upon Cp into Cv. So answer will be Cv by Cp. Answer will be Cv by Cp. That is D option is absolutely correct. There is no chance to get the answer A and B. You will slightly deviate it by seeing the option B. Suddenly in your mind it will click like Cp by Cv. No, it's not. The Cp by Cv is gamma. So D option will be absolutely correct for this question number 2. Now, let us move on to the question number 3. Let us move on to the question number 3. In this question number 3, they are asking a very simple problem, 1 kg of air. Again, we are going to consider air as ideal gas and we are going to apply all the properties of ideal gas for simplicity of problem. First of all, given data. We are going to write what are the data has been given in this question. Let's say temperature is given 127 degrees centigrade. We can convert in Kelvin, that is 400 Kelvin. Now, the volume is going to be double. It is going to expand in such a way that volume is going to be double. And even we can see with the graph also, P versus V curve, 1 to 2, and area under this curve will going to give me the work done. Now, you will ask, sir, why you are projecting on the V-axis? We are going to project this particular curve on the V-axis because it is a closed system, because 1 kg of air, 1 kg of air is nothing but it is a closed system. The mass flow rate is not going to happen. The mass flow rate is not changing. If it is given 1 kg per second or something like that, it is going to change with respect to time. But here it is nothing mentioned. So it is a closed system. So we are going to find out work done by PdV, and that is valid for closed system. That is not going to valid for open system. For open system, you can say, let me write for open system, delta W you can find out minus V into dP, and that is going to be projected on pressure axis. But as of now, it is not given, so we can project on V axis, that is closed system. Now, let me solve further step for this question. You can write down P into P1 V2 minus V1. If you do integration, P1 equal to P2. So either you can write P1 or P2, both are correct. Now, P2 V2 minus P1 V1. So I can write down MR into DT. Now, everything is given to you in the question, but the thing is that 1 kg of air and 0.27 kilojoule per kg of Kelvin is given. That is universal gas constant. That is characteristic gas constant is given. Now temperature, that is T2 minus T1. Now you know volume is directly proportional to temperature, but the condition is pressure should be constant. So with the help of this equation, if you find out T2 value, the T2 value is going to be 800 Kelvin. Now, if you're putting in this equation, you are going to get answer 114.8 kilojoule. That is the answer for work done. So answer should be 114.8 kilojoule. So that is regarding question number 3. That is very simple problem. Now moving on to the question number 4. Okay. Question number 4 is not given. Only 3 questions were given in the mechanical set 1. Now moving on to the mechanical set 2 paper. Now moving on to the mechanical set 2 paper. In this one, beautiful problem is given regarding question number 1. That is 1 mark problem. That is not 2 mark problem. That is very, very simple problem. Now we are going to read each and every line. A closed system contains a pure water in thermal equilibrium with its vapor at 25 degrees centigrade. That is absolutely correct. Whatever the is given, that is in thermal equilibrium. That means here saturated vapor and here saturated liquid we have, and both are having at a temperature called 25 degrees centigrade, and atmosphere is 1 atmospheric pressure. That means if you convert into kilopascal, it will be something 101.325 kilopascal. That is the pressure value initially in the initial condition. Now second condition, read again the second paragraph. The vessel in this stage is kept inside the isothermal oven, which is having an atmospheric hot air maintained at 80 degrees centigrade. The vessel exchange the heat with oven atmosphere and attain a new thermal equilibrium. Now we are going to open the valve. What is going to happen? Now again there is a system is going to place inside the container, and we have to find the wall, if I open, the air will go inside or water vapor will come outside. Now you know that whenever we have piston cylinder arrangement, there is an inlet wall and outlet wall. The pressure is entering into the inside the piston cylinder. The air is going to enter inside the piston cylinder when pressure is higher side as compared to pressure at lower side. That is, inside the pressure is lesser than as compared to the outside pressure. Then the flow will be inside. The flow is going to take place into the piston cylinder arrangement when there is a suction. So flow will always take place from higher pressure to lower pressure. In this question, we have to find out what is the saturation pressure of water. What is the saturation pressure of water correspondingly 80 degrees centigrade? If you are able to calculate, if you are able to know this thing, that is very, very simple problem. That's it. Now, let me explain step by step. It is one more problem. No need to think much. Now, these are the options which is given for the question number 1 in mechanical set 2. Let's see solution. First, let me draw. This question is basically from pure substance. This is the temperature and this is the entropy. Let me draw a figure. Let me draw with a different color so that we will not confuse. Now, look at very, very carefully. This is the temperature correspondingly 25 degrees centigrade. That is initial condition. And correspondingly, the vapor pressure, the correspondingly saturation pressure of water is approximately 3.17 kilopascal. Don't worry, how we got this value, I will tell you. Now, coming to the question, this second saturation curve, it is corresponding to 80 degrees centigrade, and third one is corresponding to 100 degrees centigrade, and correspondingly 80 degrees centigrade we have the value approximately 47.41 kilopascal, and here we have 1 atmospheric pressure corresponding to 100 or 101.325 kilopascal. Now look at very, very carefully. We have got all the pressure value, that is saturation pressure of water. We got all the values of saturation pressure of water. Okay, that is very good. Now you'll ask how we can remember 3.17. Even if you remember, then how it will be able to, how we are able to recall in the exam. No need to remember. See, whenever the temperature is increasing, automatically pressure will increase. That is by known default. And even you are solving many pure substance problem, you will come to know by seeing the table also, which is given in the question. You always come across whenever the temperature is high inside, the pressure will be on the higher side, and it is basically at 100 degrees centigrade. That atmospheric pressure is 1 atmospheric pressure. That is well known fact. So when we decrease the temperature, automatically pressure will decrease. So even if you're not knowing the value 3.17 or 47.14, no need to worry. Always remember, below the 100 degrees centigrade, the pressure will be lesser as compared to 1 atmospheric pressure. Now, the question is, when we place the oven in 80 degrees centigrade, still temperature is less than 100 degrees centigrade. So that the pressure will be still less than what? 1 atmospheric pressure. So what is going to happen? Inside the vessel, the pressure is around 47 and outside pressure is 101.325 kilopascal. So automatically hot air will go inside. So B option will be correct for this question. 47 is still less than 101.325 kilopascal. Still it is very, very low at 25 degrees centigrade, but 80 degrees centigrade also there is no chances to flow outside. The hot air will flow inside only because still pressure is less as compared to 1 atmospheric pressure. That is a very simple problem. They just tested whether you are knowing about saturation pressure or not. You are knowing the concept of TBS or not. That's it. That is regarding question of pure substance. Pure substance chapter. Now that is question number 1. Now let's move on. Let's move on to the question number 2 of mechanical set 1. Let's move on to the question number 2. Okay. In this particular question, Again, if you are going to see 1 kg of air, that is ideal gas and closed system, even they mention also closed system undergoes irreversible process. Now you should be knowing what is a reversible process and what is the irreversible process. Remember that irreversible process is nothing but the flow cannot be regain its original state. The reversible means the flow can regain its, the fluid which is flowing can able to regain its original path. If you are going to reverse its path, then nothing going to affect on the system. But with the help of irreversible system, the total system is going to be changed. Let's say example of irreversible is friction. Whenever there is a friction, the flow is taking place from point number 1 to point number 2. If there is a friction, you cannot reverse its direction through the same path, because we have to give more amount of work to bring the system from state 2 to state 1. That is about irreversible process, and we represent always by dotted line in the PV curve or TS diagram. We always represent irreversible process by dotted line. Now, in the given question, they have mentioned mass is given as 1 kg. Mass is given as 1 kg. P1 and P2 is given. Temperature T1, T2 is given. Air is given. Gas constant is given. Ratio is given for the diatomic gases. The change in specific entropy. That is very, very simple problem. Only you need to apply TDS equation. Only we need to apply TDS equal to dH minus VdP. That's it. Now ds equal to mCp into dt by t minus r by p dp, that is mr. Now if you are going to do integration, we are going to get Cp ln t2 by t1 minus r ln p2 by p1. This we are going to get ds value. Now the only thing is that every data is given, we need to put the value, but the big concern is how to get Cp value. How to get Cp value, that is specific heat at constant pressure. Now let me give a brief introduction about Cp. Cp for the ideal gas we can able to calculate by formula called R gamma by gamma minus 1, and this is only valid for ideal gas. And unfortunately, here it is given ideal gas only. So if you find out, you will get 1004.5 joule per kg Kelvin. If you put the value, let me keep all this value in the equation. That is ds equal to 1004.5 log base E T2 by T1, that is 400 by 300 minus 0.27, let's say 287 because they are asking joule, ln log 3. If you calculate, you will get minus 26.3 ds value. That is A option is absolutely correct. Now you may think why it is negative. The whole entropy of the universe always increases, but don't, never confuse with system and universe. Never confuse with system and universe. This is my system and this is my surrounding, and together it is called as universe. Now entropy of the system and surrounding can be positive, can be negative, can be zero, but for the universe it will be always be greater than equal to zero. It can never decrease. Entropy of the universe can never decrease. Now D option, it is given indeterminate as a process irreversible. No, it is never going to happen. That's why I told most of the cases in the GATE exam, indeterminate option you can avoid. And the positive and negative, if you are confused, then you have to calculate. For the system, it can be anything. But for the surround, if they are asking that change in entropy, the change in entropy for the universe, it can never be negative. That is regarding question number 2. Now, let's move question number 3. Let's move on to the question number 3. It is a very good problem of piston cylinder arrangement. It is a very good problem of piston cylinder arrangement. Piston cylinder arrangement. Now, atmospheric pressure is given, that is 100 kilopascal. Initial pressure is given 105 kilopascal. Let me write down. Atmospheric pressure is given 100 kilopascal. Initial pressure is given 105 kilopascal. Now heat is going to be added so the piston start moving from initial condition to this condition. The piston is going to start moving from condition 1, let's say condition 2, and this is condition 3. It is going to reach condition 3 slowly after some time. Everything is given to spring constant, everything is given. You need to find what is the work in traction, and we have to find out round up to nearest integer, not in decimal. There is a difference between integer and decimal. Remember that. Now, at this particular point number 1, this is my piston. Let me draw a free body diagram at the state 1. What are the forces which are acting? Atmospheric pressure. P1 is there. Now, if you check the answer, this P atmospheric and P1, P atmospheric is 100 and P1 is 105. There is a difference of 5 kilopascal. Where it is coming? It is coming due to weight of the piston. It is coming due to weight of the piston, that is mg of piston by area. It is not given, no need to worry. Now, so we can write down P1 equal to P atmospheric plus W by A. We are going to, basically we are balancing the forces, not pressure. So I'm taking area, dividing by area. So I will get P1 equal to P atmospheric plus W by A. That is equilibrium condition at the state 1. Let me write state number 1. Let me write state number 1. Now, what is going to happen at state 2? What is going to happen at state 2? State 2, P atmospheric pressure, weight of the piston plus P2. Remember, P2 will be also be equal to P1. P2 will be also be equal to P1. Why it is equal? Because from point number 1 to point number 2, this is the isobaric process and there is no change in the pressure because still piston is not touching this spring. Spring is not exerting any force. But when the piston will move state number 3, then spring is going to compress by 8 centimeter. Now the spring is going to exert a force. So let me draw a equilibrium condition at state 3. Let me draw equilibrium condition at state 3. Let me draw equilibrium condition at state 3. That is at state 3. Atmospheric pressure plus weight of the piston plus what is going to happen? Spring force. Spring force is also going to happen. That is equal to P3. So I can write down P atmospheric pressure plus weight of the piston, that is pressure due to piston weight, plus spring force, that is equal to Kx by A. This is the spring pressure, that is Kx divided by A. Now we got to know P1, P2, P3. Now let me explain this particular situation of question number 3 with the help of graph. Okay. Okay, now let's see solution. Let me first draw PV diagram. Let me draw PV diagram. Now what is going to happen? From point number 1 to point number 2, there is an isobaric process. But after point 2, there is a increase in the pressure value due to spring force. And whenever the spring is there, the pressure and volume is going to vary. What? Is going to vary linearly. Is going to vary linearly. Now it is a closed system. So area under this curve, the area under this curve will give me work done. the area under this curve will give me work done. Now we know each and every data, that is P atmospheric given, that is 100 kilopascal. P1 is given as 105 kilopascal. P2 is also equal to 105 due to isobaric process. P3 you can calculate, and in this particular question I will tell you there is no need of P2 and P3. Spring constant Newton per mm is given. Now my dear friend, you are going to follow, either you can follow two methods is there. Either you can follow A1 area, A2 area and A3 area, or you can calculate total work done, that is P1 into, let's say it is V1, V2, V3, let's say V3 minus V1 plus half of kx square, that is work done due to atmospheric pressure, and this is work done due to, remember, atmospheric pressure plus piston weight. And this is the work done due to spring force. Now, if you put the value, that is P1 is 105, V3 by V1 is nothing but 2 into A into X. Basically, if you see the piston cylinder element, there is a point number 1, point number 2, and point number 3, and X is, I am assuming, like this. So basically it is going to deform by, it is going to move by up by 2x, and where x is given as 8 centimeter. This value if you calculate plus half of kx square. Now let me clear some of the portion so that I can write remaining steps of the solution. Now 105 kilopascal means 10 power 3. 2 into area is given as 300 centimeter square into 16 into 10 power 6. 300 into 16 into 10 power 6 minus 6, that is centimeter cube, plus half of k. K is given as 12.5 into 1000 because it is Newton meter. X square, that is 64 into 10 power minus 4. If you calculate this value, you will get 504 plus this value you are going to get 40. So the total value of work done you are going to get the total value you are going to get 544 joule. And let's see whether they are asking in joule or kilojoule. So they are asking in joule, yes. And round off to integer value means you should not put the value in decimal. There should be one perfect value, that is 544, that is 544 joule. That is the answer of work interaction in the piston cylinder arrangement. So basically either you can solve taking area A1. Second method is A1, that is P1 into V2 by V2 minus V1. A2 you can calculate as P2 into V3 minus V2. And A3 you can calculate half of P3 minus P2 into V3 minus V2. So either you do A1 plus A2 plus A3 to get the total work done, or the shortcut is without calculating, without taking any risk of calculating P2 or P3, you can directly calculate with this method. That is atmospheric work and piston work, that is weight of the piston against that work, plus spring work, that is half of kx square. You will directly get the value. So that is all about the question number 3 of the mechanical set 2. Now, the most committable mistake one student can do is that, let me explain. In this question, the confusion started when they have given two pressure, that is atmospheric pressure as well as we can see the initial pressure. The two pressure is given basically to confuse. the student, so that student can commit the mistake. They can take P1 value as 100 kilopascal. That is atmospheric work. But in this question, we have to imagine there is a weight of the piston also acting. That's why there is a 5 kilopascal difference, because at the state 1, let's say this is the state number 1. At the state 1, the piston should be under equilibrium condition. The piston should be at the rest, and with the help of forces, it will be under the rest. With the help of force balance, it is going to be under the rest condition. And how the force is going to balance? Atmospheric force, P1 is given, and weight of the force, the weight of the piston. That is that particular force is going to balance P1, which are acting 105 kilopascal. That is a trick which is given in the question, except that this question is very easy. And second trick is that when the piston is moving from point number 1 to point number 2, there is no spring work. The piston is not doing any work against spring, because spring not going to compress. Until unless spring is going to compress, then only the spring is going to exert a force, that is Kx. And the force, the pressure force due to the spring is going to be a Kx divided by A. So that is all about question number 3. And that is all about thermodynamics, that is basic thermodynamics of mechanical set 1 and set 2. Thank you guys.